Hey everyone, so we've been receiving a lot of requests from many of you who are just starting their USMLE journey. You wanted us to talk about step 1. How much time will it take? How to plan for it? What resources to use? So here it is. We have worked with our students and panelists, and we will be giving you guidance in a series of blogs, in a series of videos, and other channels to help you start preparing for step 1. We've also created a planner which will give you day by day, hour by hour breakup of how you can plan for it, what resources to use. The planner is going to give you a complete sequence for step 1. So we start with this video. This is based on a blog written by one of our students from All India Institute of Medical Sciences, or AIIMS, and she goes into a fair bit of detail in this blog. So whether you're just starting to think about your USMLE journey or you've already started to prepare for step 1, this will be a great video for you in case you're looking to pick the resources, in what sequence you should do it, and in general how to focus for this exam. So watch on and let us know if there are any other videos, any other topics you would want us to do for your step preparation, and good luck in your journey. So in this video we'll tell you everything you need to know about preparing for step 1. We will discuss the basic structure of the exam, all the resources you need, and a fairly detailed plan with the tool that we recommend and some tips. So we have discussed these tips with our students who we worked with for their residency match, and the tips and the guidance and best practices have come from them. And also there is a detailed blog on our website that you can use. Before we get started, many of you may not know about us at USMLE Sarthi. So we have traditionally helped applicants in their ERAS application, personal statement, electives, externships, US clinical experience, and pretty much everything you need from a match perspective after the exam. So program selection, communication, interview preparation, and so on. And what you see here on USMLE exams is our planner tool, which is specifically built for IMGs. So you are free to use it and execute the strategies that we outline in this video for you. Typically how we teach is we have a mix of didactics, physician mentors, and we have a closed Telegram community every year that we run in terms of helping our students to match. So as I was mentioning, we have had over 1200 students from over 32 countries. We have a very high match rate of 87%, so look us up. We help you match in all the IMG preferred specialties, as well as some of the very hard to get specialties like anesthesiology, OB-GYN, fellowships, prelim program, and our students have a variety of score range, so multiple attempts, low scores to 260 plus. Year of graduation also varies a lot, as you can see. But today we are here to introduce our planner and our roadmap for you for the step 1 preparation. So here's the website. You can go to this planner and start using the tips that we'll give you in this video. If you need more information about us, here's the website with all the links. We run a Facebook group as well. We are on YouTube, and of course you can see how to get in touch with us using our toll-free number. As mentioned, we recommend using the planner. All the strategies, all the tips that we are talking about in this video, we have incorporated it in the planner, so you can just go there and create an account and you should be ready to use it. Alright, so let's get started and go over some of the most basic questions that you may have about the step 1. So the first question: how is the USMLE exam structured? Well, as you all may know, it's a computer-based exam to be done in one day. It's an 8-hour long exam, It will consist of 7 1-hour question blocks. So in each block you'll have 40 questions. And then of course it has a 1 hour of break time. The 1 hour of break time you can utilize all at once, or you can split it into 10-minute break time after each question block. Now let's talk about what subjects are covered. So as we've listed here, there are 10 subjects that are included. So subjects in step 1 include biochemistry, anatomy, physiology, microbiology and immunology, pathology, pharmacology, biostats and epidemiology, medical ethics, behavioral sciences, and finally genetics and aging. Now probably the most important question all of you will need to tackle sooner or later. When should I start preparing for USMLE Step 1? Now as you may have seen from the subjects, the Step 1 will test you on the basic sciences subjects, and these are covered in the first 2 years of the college, medical school, MBBS, etc. for most of the international medical graduates or IMGs. The best way, of course, is to take the exam immediately or as soon as possible after you've completed the second year. That's because the concept may be still fresh in your mind. However, we all know this may or may not work out for many of you. What if you couldn't take it in the medical school? What if you had to relocate? Many of you who may do home country residencies. So what if you decide to pursue USMLE after you've graduated? Well, don't worry, it's never too late to begin. We've had many students who start late, who have done, home country residencies, who have taken a break, who may have lost touch with the subjects like basic sciences. So you will just need to supplement your preparation with additional resources, including some textbooks, video lectures, and we'll go over all of that. And these will help you clarify the concepts. But it will never pull you back from scoring well. Our students who have taken USMLEs after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years or more, after graduating from MBBS, medical school, even residencies, they have done very well. 3-digit scores of 260 or more is not uncommon. Preparing late may not be a disadvantage, it's only a disadvantage if you think so. So I've already gone over this slide. Now the other important question that you may have, how long will it actually take me to prepare for the Step 1 exam? And of course the time required can vary from one student to another. There are various factors that may influence it. For example, like I mentioned, time since graduation, your command over the basic sciences, more importantly, how much dedicated time you have for study of Step 1 every day. Many of you who may be working or you may have other commitments, obviously then the dedicated time every day may be less for you. And then of course the individual reading style. And like we are recommending for IMGs who've just completed the second year of medical school, maybe 4 to 6 weeks of dedicated preparation time is enough, and we have validated it with our own students as well. We have enough data to support this. And if you start late, then probably we are talking about 4 to 6 months of dedicated preparation. So the key word here is the dedicated preparation time that will allow you to do well on this exam. Anything short will not probably be enough, and any longer will not significantly improve your performance. So you will see the laws of diminishing return if you say keep preparing for 8 months, 10 months in a dedicated fashion. So now let's get to the core of this presentation for you. What are the resources available for Step 1? Step 1 is perhaps the most important examination that you will be taking during your USMLE journey, and at least till the Step 1 3-digit scores are there, these scores can determine to a large extent the kind of residency spot you will secure. It will also support your application for post residency fellowships. I mean, good scores are always welcome. So there are a lot of resources available to help students prepare for step 1. And we are going to go over each one of those resources that we've seen over the years our students use and at various forums and how they've done well. So the first aid for USMLE Step 1. This is your Bible, your Gita, your Quran, call it what you will. It is the most important and the most popular resource among the students. First aid is a very comprehensive review book, and you got to use it as a core resource to guide the preparation. It can be used as the only study resource as well if you have a very good command over the basic sciences subject. But what we have seen is for most students, they need to supplement this with additional resource to develop an understanding of the concept and the scientific principles. First aid will tell you what you need to study, and the additional resources that we are going to talk about will help you master that. Of course, like with any other publication, first aid edition that you may be using may have some mistakes. So what we have given here is a link to the errata section of the first aid, which is available online. So always refer to that in case of any doubts or clarification of the mistakes. Then we come to UWorld or USMLE World for USMLE Step 1. This is one of the other essential resources, very important. Understand that Step 1 is a test of both your knowledge and application. Very few questions will test the basics and definition. Most questions will be based on application of concepts and the scientific principles. This is where UWorld will come in. The core and the additional resources that you use, like the first aid, will help you gather the information, and UWorld will teach you the application of these concepts. If you can achieve mastery over the UWorld, you will absolutely ace the exam. The objective should be to solve and review every question in UWorld. Let me repeat, solve and review each and every question in UWorld. You got to be able to understand and memorize the learning objective of each question. You have to learn to exclude the wrong answer choices, why that particular choice is not correct. UWorld will also give you the ability to pick the best response. So they will train you in that, and you have to learn that. And then of course it'll help you develop the speed. So you got to target doing one question in about 60 to 65 seconds as per what our students' experience has been. Next we come to the assessments. So there are two core assessments that we are going to talk about, and the first one is the NBMEs, the National Board of Medical Examiners Assessment. NBMEs can be used, and these are the exams, NBME exams can be used as assessment and learning tools both. Most of the concepts tested on NBME exams are covered in the UWorld question bank, but it's common to find new questions or concepts in each NBME exam or form as it is called. As of the time of recording, there are 6 practice exams which are available under the comprehensive basic science self-assessment tab on the NBME website. Each exam costs around $60, and you can purchase it on the official website. What we recommend is to solve and review all NBMEs online. Okay, remember to solve and review all NBMEs online. NBME is scored on the same scale as the USMLE, and the score reports that you will get will include feedback on strength and weaknesses. Now there's a lot of debate on the predictive value. So the predictive value of NBME varies from one form to another, and on the official website there is not much data on the predictive value, but if you go to some other websites or Reddit forums, you can compare that. The objective from your NBMEs should be to estimate your readiness for the actual test. You get a feedback on performance, of course, so that's an objective, and it helps you identify weaknesses and assess your test taking skills. Then let's talk about the other assessments, which are the UWorld self-assessments. And like NBMEs, UWorld self-assessments should be used both as a learning and an assessment tool. And this will help you estimate your readiness for the actual exam. As of today, there are 2 practice exams available on the UWorld website, and you can either purchase them with the UWorld question bank or separately through the official website. Again, we strongly recommend that you solve and review both UWorld self-assessments online. And at the end of each assessment, a 3-digit score is given, which is kind of equivalent to the actual exam score, and a feedback on performance that helps you identify areas of strength and weaknesses, etc. Again, the predictive value can vary for both assessments, and there is no official data to support how it correlates with the actual Step 1 exam. But again, Reddit or other forums can help you find out more information if you would want. The objective of these assessments also remains similar to the NBME assessment. Okay, so there are several additional resources and we've just listed it here. I'm not going to go into details of each one of these. And while First Aid, UWorld, NBMEs and the UWorld self-assessment, they are the most popular core resources. So you cannot start your preparation without these. And like we've already discussed, you can use our planner tool that will give you a step-by-step instruction on how to use these resources, what to do when. Most students will also need additional books or videos to supplement their preparation. Due to the vast majority of resources, it's kind of impossible for us to cover all of them in detail, but here's the list as you can see. So Kaplan video lectures in most you will find useful, but I do want to point out, like in physiology, BRS is very popular. Pathology, the Pathoma book by Dr. Sattar. Behavioral sciences, again, BRS, very popular. And medical ethics by Dr. Conrad Fisher, absolutely very common. You can see many students use it. So here is a list of some more resources. Again, AIIMS or Boards and Beyonds. You can see we have divided it into various categories, whether it's question banks, review books or videos. So Boards and Beyonds, of course, as I was saying, is a very good video series. Mnemonics, flashcards, Anki has been used very often. So look through this list and then we can talk about which one can fit your learning style and also depending on the time you have. So now I'm sure you're thinking, how many of these resources should I be using? How can I possibly use every resource? And there's a time crunch, and obviously these are not all needed. Now the key to scoring well or doing well in Step 1 is using a finite number of resources but mastering them. So finite number of resources but mastering them, rather than juggling with too many and not knowing them well. And this is one issue that we have seen all over again, and possibly we'll cover it in our next video, which is people using too many resources and not focusing on some of the core resources. So what we are going to suggest you is to use resources like First Aid and maybe one additional resource, and then you can use question banks, flashcards, which are optional, and mnemonics also, which are optional in our recommendation. Alright, so now you're thinking how to select these resources. Right, so we've spoken about the resources, core resources, additional resources, how many to use, but then how do you select these resources? As of course each resource will have its strengths and weaknesses, but there are no best resources, only the best students. So selection of these resources depend on your individual learning style and the baseline knowledge of the subject. And one way which we have seen students figure it out is to study the same topic. So as you start, right, only the first couple of topics. So study the same topic for a few different resources and then compare them. Then stick to the one that works best. So the resource that works best for you, stick to that for the rest of the preparation phase. The time and effort you spend during this phase will determine your command over the subject and the time required for revision. So how you select the resources becomes very important. So now let's get into the study schedule, the planning of your exam, which is very critical. As mentioned, we recommend using the planner. All the strategies, all the tips that we are talking about in this video, we have incorporated it in the planner, so you can just go there and create an account and you should be ready to use it. Okay, as you make your study schedule, remember that most of the students preparing for step 1 use the same resources. But then you are wondering what will cause the variation in scores. Some students perform better than the others. These results can be influenced by many factors and variables, of course, like baseline knowledge you have, the learning style. But one of the most important factors contributing to this variation is the study schedule. So that is very important. And what we are going to give you are tips and tricks that can help you succeed. Like I mentioned, the planning best practices have also been implemented in this free planner tool, which you can access and start using. So some of the tips, as we mentioned here, one is don't overlearn. Although the time required to read varies among various students, 5 to 8 hours of dedicated study every day should be enough for most of you. Less than that may not be enough, and if you try to do more on a consistent basis, it will lead to a burnout. The tool that we recommend also allows you to set your dedicated hours by the day of the week, and you can take days off as well. The second important tip is to be able to take frequent breaks. As you study for long hours in a single stretch, it will decrease your efficiency and reduce your retention. Of course, you may know that the attention span for average human is 40 to 45 minutes. So you should take about a short 10-minute break after every 45 minutes or an hour. You should also take a day off every week just to relax, refresh, and break the monotony. Then try to study the same topic in different ways. You can use flashcards, Feynman technique, mnemonic books, videos, whatever works for you to study the same topic. This can spark your interest but also help you understand the topic better. But the best way to test your own understanding of a topic and improve the retention is to teach it to someone else. If you can teach it, then of course you know it. Finally, of course, is the revision. The key to success on any exam is revision. No matter how well you study a topic the first time, without revision it cannot be retained. So you should plan to allocate about 60 to 90 minutes of revision every day in your schedule. This is the reason that our planner tool recommends that you use UWorld time test every day. One of the techniques that you can use is the spaced revision technique. It's based on the forgetting curve, and it provides time interval between study sessions for long-term retention of information. So if you want to Google it, Google the spaced revision technique and you can use some of it. Alright, so we recommend that you divide your step 1 preparation in 2 phases. So first is the preparatory phase, which should be about 75% of your total preparation time, so about 3/4. And the goal here is going to be to learn the facts, to master the concepts, and of course the application related to each topic and subject. And it allows you to think about different ways a fact or a concept can be tested as a question. Resources to use in this preparatory phase are of course First Aid, UWorld, and any other additional resource that you may want to use. Okay, so how to use First Aid and UWorld in this phase? You got to use First Aid to guide the preparation. You cannot just read it, but understand it and master it. That has to be the goal. By the end of this phase, you must have completed one pass of First Aid. And you have to use the additional resources to understand the concepts and the scientific principles. You should take necessary notes from these resources, and you can use the planner tool. We have built it so that you can take your notes. The idea is to have a comprehensive go-to resource for revision rather than juggling between various books. So if there is one place you can take the notes, take it. And that's why the planner tool may be a useful one for you. Then in terms of UWorld, which is a question bank, use it to learn the application of knowledge and develop test taking skills, which is the time required to solve each question and the best response. Solve and review UWorld every day from first day of preparation. I think this is very, very important. At the end of each phase, each student should have completed one pass of UWorld as well. Many of the students also find maintaining a UWorld journal helpful. Taking notes of the necessary concepts and facts from the question bank is important, and you can use the tool to take these notes. This will be your resource for a quick revision before the exam. So you can take notes from UWorld, you can take notes from First Aid, so that during the exam you can just quickly refer to these. Of course, track your progress, observe improvement in your UWorld scores, and the tool helps you as well. The second is the revision phase, and this is the remaining 25% of your preparation time. And the goal here is to revisit all the facts and concepts that you've learned in the preparation phase and develop these test taking skills. In terms of resources, of course, in addition to the First Aid and UWorld, there are these NBME assessments and UWorld self-assessments that we spoke about. In terms of your plan for the revision phase, you should complete the second pass of UWorld, and you should strive to solve and review about 80 to 100 questions every day. Practice solving one question block, which is about 40 questions, in 45 to 50 minutes, so that you can leave enough time for review of responses on the actual test. Of course, revise your notes, whether you've taken it in the planner or anywhere else. You should also complete the second round of First Aid and revise the notes taken from additional resources. The other important thing to note is to take and review NBME at the beginning of the preparation to identify areas of weakness and determine your readiness for the exam. Revise and improvise based on the feedback received. Then you should take and review subsequent NBMEs and UWorld self-assessments every week with a revision to monitor the progress. You have to take all assessments online. That's what we strongly recommend. Of course, taking 2 4-hour assessments online in a row to simulate the actual 8-hour step exam is very, very useful and important. So take these 2 assessments back to back. Solve question blocks and take breaks as you would on the day of the exam. This should be done at least once during the revision phase. And when it comes to tracking progress, you will observe gradual improvement in the assessment scores every week. You can use the tool, observe your improvement in the areas of weaknesses identified by the assessments. Finally, when should I take the test? This question is of course of paramount importance to most of you. So you have to understand that USMLE Step 1 tests both the facts and application of the concepts. Now, once you understand the concepts, you can retain it for a long time. But of course, facts need to be revisited frequently and they are kind of volatile. So what we are advising is to take the test as soon as the assessment scores from NBMEs and UWorld self-assessment fall within the 10-point range of your target score. It's good to remember that no one is ever 100% prepared. You have to be able to trust your assessments. So that was all that we had. So start using the planner tool. You may want to review this long video again just to make sure that you understood the tips and the guidance we provided. And good luck. Let us know if we can help in any way.